Average Pat's Movie Reviews.
Hi everyone, Average Pat here to sit to chat today about the movie Dark Waters. This is a gritty, dark, and frankly disgustingly nauseating movie about the truth of DuPont and their poisoning of millions of Americans in the use of Teflon. They would have gotten away for it had it not been for the dogged determination of a lawyer named Robert Bilott, who was portrayed in this movie by Mark Ruffalo. His wife Sarah was portrayed by Anne Hathaway. His boss Tom Turp was portrayed by Tim Robbins. And the cast has very many other good people. Mayor Winningham, Bill Pullman, Louisa Krause. Bill Kemp does an exceptional job as Earl Tennant. The performances are impressive and hauntingly scary because they're a true story. It's a true story based on what really took place. And what it comes down to is Rob Bilott is a lawyer who works for the defense of chemical companies. He's one of their defense lawyers. He helps defend them against frivolous lawsuits and people coming against them. He takes up the case in the early 90s and has Earl Tennant come to his office with a whole bunch of videos explaining why everything's going wrong in his property. And Rob kind of blows him off initially at first and then finds out that the guy is coming based on a recommendation of Rob's grandmother. His grandmother knew them, they were family friends, and they knew he was a good lawyer, so they went to him for help. He doesn't do it for the money. He does it out of a favor to his grandmom and to this guy who he barely knows. And the more he digs, the more he becomes disgusted and infuriated and more doggedly focused. It puts a hardship on his job. It puts a hardship on his health. It puts a hardship on his marriage. It really starts getting to him. And you see everybody else breaking down and everybody else getting frustrated with him for being so determined. Yet he refuses to give up the truth. He refuses to not go until things have been rightened as best they can. I say disgustingly nauseating in a compliment at the beginning of this because it is a true story. It is scary how much the truth came out and how bad it is. Your stomach turns at the mere idea of a company getting away with doing all this by looking good in the public spotlight and paying off people to disappear, and here's some hush money, and here's a super thick NDA that you can't say anything to anybody else, and you can't tell anybody how much we paid you, and blah blah blah, and oh, here's pennies, just go away, we don't really care, but you signed the paperwork saying you'll never sue us again and you can't talk about it to anybody, so touche. It's scary, it's nauseating, and I walked out of that theater and everybody else walked out of that theater in stunned silence. There are moments in that movie where you're rooting for Rob, you're rooting for everything to go right and just to get kicked in the teeth. The man put up with an incredible amount of stress, an incredible amount of hardships, an incredible amount of people fighting him, the company fighting him because they had the money and he didn't, and his law firm didn't, and they knew that, and they were going after individual people who didn't have the money. And it came to a point of, go ahead and sue us, we'll win in court because we can afford the lawyers and you can't. And to see him fight that and to see him go against the system, knowing the secrets and the way things are worded because he used to be their defenders, was good to see. And it's not really surprising that Mark Ruffalo would take a movie like this under his wing because he was so active with the anti-pipeline up in South Dakota. He's very earth conscious and very conservationism friendly and is very well outspoken on those topics. So this role seems to be a natural fit for him. Rob and Sarah actually do make an appearance in the movie, just a quick cameo of the two of them as actually Mark Ruffalo and Anne Hathaway are talking to them at a function, which made it kind of funny to see them there. You realize when the camera focuses on them for a little bit longer than just a quick glance, it's not somebody in the background. There's a reason for that, and they explain at the end that Rob is still alive and kicking, and still taking names, and his wife is still there supporting him. But it's not a smooth ride, man. This is a really tough movie to watch because, again, the fact that it is true, the fact that it really happened, the fact that DuPont got away with it for so darn long and did so much damage to the earth, to the environment, to humans in general. It's disgustingly nauseating. I don't know any other way to describe it. The movie's beautiful, haunting but beautiful, because it exposes all this and it shows somebody standing up for the little guy, but it's the overall process of what he had to go against and what he had to prove and how he went all through it. Oh my gosh, I can't imagine being in his shoes and seeing and dealing with what he did for so many years and what it still does. It's mind-numbing. However, that being said, it's not a beautiful movie in the picturesque scene of it. The cinematography is not very overwhelming. It does what it needs to. It's a minimalist type of movie. They show the scenes. They show the backgrounds they need to. They show what they need to. There's nothing that really catches you as strikingly beautiful in the backgrounds or the scenery. It's more of a gritty, down-earth. Most of the sky is gray. In the movie, it's not really a sunny day in very many scenes. Usually the weather's not the greatest when they're talking about a lot of things or dealing with a lot of stuff. There are some scenes where it's nice and sunny, but not very many. It's overwhelmingly, I think it's intentionally done that way to make you more of a depressive look and a sober look at, the facts of what really took place. Were there liberties taken in telling the story? I'm sure there were some. Am I aware of them? No, I'm not, honestly. And as much as I looked into it, most of the numbers and the stuff that they point out in the theater and on the movie that I saw in the theater, the settlements that were made and how much they were made, they all came up as true. So I don't know what to question as reality and what to question as, artistic license. If you want a gritty reality check and a gut check, by all means, go check this out. It is one of those ones where it will definitely leave a memory and an impression on you. It is not a soft, easygoing movie. It will hit you. It will sober you up. It will make you stop and think. How much are we aware of this? How much was the media aware of it? How much has been disclosed to the general public by said media or by DuPont themselves? And were we really told the truth by them during their disclosures? And I think that's what really hits home the most, realizing that the disclosures that we heard might not have been completely truthful, might not have been completely 100% accurate or fully accurate. They might have been cleverly worded the wrong way intentionally. Or, there's one point where he points out a letter. Okay, from this moment they received this letter, they had 60 days to file a lawsuit. Doesn't say in there anywhere you do, but that's how it worked. That's what was what was sent to the courts, and not many people realize that. So for, again, Rob to go through all this struggle and all this hardships to prove everything, it's a very well done movie. It's a very gritty, wholesome look at a true hero who needs more recognition for things like this. There are people who pull this stuff off all the time who don't get the recognition, and I think Rob Ballard finally got the recognition that he deserved through this movie being made about him. Overall, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. It is a gritty, realistic approach of a movie. It's a true story, but it will disturb you. It's not a funny comedy. There are a couple lines in there, but most of them are sobering. There's not very many moments where you're like, yeah, it's about time. It's like, oh my God, another obstacle, another hurdle, another thing to block him. When is this going to stop? So it definitely is a cold reality look at life. Unfortunately, it's a true story. So if you enjoy movies like that and want to see the little guy finally being stood up for, by all means, this is definitely your movie. If you like this review or any of my reviews, please don't hesitate to like them on Facebook, spread the word, share them with everybody that you can. Subscribe to my YouTube page, click the little notification bell, that way you know when I post new videos. And let everybody know about me. I'm trying to get as many people interested in what I'm doing as I can, and the more shares and the more likes I get, the more people I know I'm reaching. Appreciate any little support I can get from anybody out there. Any questions or comments, please feel free to comment on this post or send me an email. I have to work on the the email I have. I lost the password for, and Gmail is not being workable with me. But you can send it through Facebook, through the email, through there. Thanks a lot. Have yourself a good night. Talk to you guys later.